I need to invite. Where do I do that? Thank you, sweetie. There it is.
Where's Casey?
She's right over here by me, and you need to leave her alone. What did I say? You're in my meeting. You need to go away. Good morning.
Oh, hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. How are
Okay,
you?
good. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you, God. I miss you, Miss Elsa. How are you? Good?
I'm doing good. Did you get your son signed up for pre-K?
Yeah, I already registration, but he didn't accept.
He's not happy?
No, the school is not accepted because the income is over the limit they put it.
Oh,
So
I'm so sorry.
yeah, I was very sad, but it's okay.
Oh, okay. Well, I was checking on our class, and we're supposed to be finished by the 29th of April, but I think we will finish today or next week because
Uh-huh.
we don't have very much left.
Yeah, we already we will start in the last unit.
Yes, we're on the very last unit. We're starting the very last unit today.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to set up my DVD. I haven't done that yet, so you keep turning back and forth.
Yeah.
Are you sitting in a different place today?
Yes, yes. My husband is upstairs. He using his computer, so I'm down from my phone.
Okay.
He
Well,
let me out.
let me get my let me get my DVD working.
Okay.
Um,
Actually, this unit is very important to me because I'm willing to work in next month, in the first week. So I think this unit it will be good for me.
this will be a very good one. The World of Work.
Yeah,
So, have you got a
yeah,
job?
yes. I get a job, but I will start in the next month.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
that's wonderful. Well,
yeah.
let's I'm still trying to figure out how to set up my sound on my DVD player, and I
Share.
know
Share screen. Share screen.
share screen,
Lower
share sound, share. Okay, I think we're good. All right. So we're going to start with what do you know? You want to look at these, the preview on page 225.
Mm-hmm.
Identify job responsibilities.
Yeah.
Ask about policies at work. Talk about responsibilities. Read a pay stub. Ask a coworker to cover your hours. Ask about work schedules. Request a schedule change and complete a vacation request form.
Yes.
So those are things we're going to go over. The first thing they want you to do is look at these pictures on page 226 and 227.
Mm-hmm.
And what are the people doing? Can you tell what they're doing?
It's a clock in and out.
Yeah, that's when
Since
you
she do.
like a time card. And not
Yeah.
everybody uses those, but some people still do.
Mm-hmm.
So clocking in and out, that's when you've come in. What kind of a job are you going to have, Christine?
I will work in LG Electronics. It's like a sampler,
Right?
something together. Yeah.
Putting things together. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like a factory job. So
Yes.
you may have to clock in and out every day. That
Mm-hmm.
may be something they expect you to do.
Yeah.
Um, so one is clocking in and out.
Okay.
Two is call in late if your car breaks down and you have to call in. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll go over that. Three is follow directions, and we always have to do that, no matter what kind
Yeah.
of a job we have, right?
Yes.
Um, four, report problems with the equipment. So if something breaks down, you need to make sure you let someone know.
Mm-hmm.
Work as a team. So whoever you're working with, you want to make sure you get along with your coworkers.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to wear a uniform. You probably won't wear a uniform for your job. I
Don't
don't know.
know. Yeah.
Um, wash hands. That's always important, no matter what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Wear gloves. Not every job requires you to wear gloves, but some might.
Yeah.
Wear safety gear.
Mm-hmm.
Ask questions. Maintain the equipment and store the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So, when do you start your job in May? The beginning
Um.
of May?
It's 3rd of May.
May 3rd? Okay, I
Yes,
think
May.
I think that's a Monday. Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll end up having to do some of these things. Christine, if you ever have questions, even after we finish, you can always text me and I can still meet with you on Zoom or whatever and we can talk about
Sure.
things. If you have
Yeah.
questions about things as you start working and if you want to know some stuff like that, I'd be glad to help you with anything I
Thank
can,
you so
okay?
much.
Well, I
Thank you.
want you to know that because sometimes you think, well, class is over, I can't call her. You can anytime. Text me or call me or whatever you need to do, okay? If there's
Thank
something
you,
I
Miss
can
Elsa. I
help you
appreciate.
with.
Thank you so much.
All right, so now we're going to start with this track 49
Mm-hmm.
on the CD, and it's listen and repeat. So we're going to use this list on page 227 and these pictures and talk about these job responsibilities. So first we'll listen, and then I think we listen and repeat. So let me see if I can get this started.
Okay.
Unit 12, The World of Work. Page 226. What do you know? Exercise B. Listen. 1,
Clock in. Clock out.
2,
Call in late.
3,
Follow directions.
4,
Report problems with the equipment.
5,
Work as a team.
6,
Wear a uniform.
7,
Wash hands.
8,
Wear latex gloves.
9,
Wear safety gear.
10,
Ask questions.
11,
Maintain the equipment.
12.
Store the equipment.
Listen and repeat. 1,
Clock in.
Clock in.
Clock out.
Clock out.
2,
Call in late.
Call in late.
3,
Follow directions.
Follow directions.
4,
Report problems with the equipment.
Report problems with the equipment.
5,
Work as a team.
Work as a team.
6,
Wear a uniform.
Wear a uniform.
7,
Wash hands.
Wash hands.
8,
Wear latex gloves.
Wear latex gloves.
9,
Wear safety gear.
Wear safety gear.
10,
Ask questions.
Ask questions.
11,
Maintain the equipment.
Maintain the equipment.
12,
Store the equipment.
Store the equipment.
Okay.
Unit 12.
The next thing is what are the job responsibilities for each of the following jobs? The first one they gave you was a computer system administrator, a nurse assistant, a sales assistant, and a warehouse worker. So they want to know what are the responsibilities of each one of those jobs. So each one of those jobs are going to have different things that they would do in that particular job.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think some of the responsibilities might be of a computer system administrator?
To registration the information or
They would work on computers, right?
yes,
This is
yes.
this is the job that my husband does right now. He's a computer system administrator. He's also a teacher and a program developer. He does a lot of computer work.
Yeah.
I was a computer programmer when I was working when I
Mm-hmm.
first finished college, but I've done a lot of different jobs. So, but a computer system administrator does a lot of work on a computer. They might have to
Mm-hmm.
answer questions like run a help desk and help other people work through problems.
Mm-hmm.
What about a nurse assistant? What kind of things do you think a nurse assistant would do? I can't hear you, Christine. Are you talking? Are you there?
I'm sorry,
I
it's
can't hear
mute.
you.
It's mute. I'm sorry. You
Oh,
heard
okay,
me?
you're good. What
Yeah.
kind of things do you think a nurse assistant would do?
It's a nurse assistant is assistant to the doctor and the patient in the hospital.
Right. They might, if you went to a doctor's appointment, that might be who comes in and takes your temperature and your blood pressure.
Yes.
Um, if it was in a hospital setting, they might do just about anything. They might bring you water if you need a drink, or they could do just about anything.
Yes.
But not the things that a nurse would do. They wouldn't administer medications and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
What about a sales assistant? What do you think they would do?
It's assistant. It can sell the what
Any
can I
sales clerk in a store, like if you go into a store
yeah.
like a clothing store to buy clothes, you might
Mm-hmm.
talk to a sales assistant. Anybody on the floor
Yes.
who is helping to sell things, that would be the sales assistant. And it could be in any kind of a store, a
Yeah.
person helping to do sales. What about a warehouse worker?
It's anybody in the factory or companies carry the equipment and
Right? It could be
right.
any job in a warehouse. They could operate a forklift or stock shelves or unpack boxes. It could be just about anything that could be done in a warehouse, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so part B is look at the categories of job responsibilities and complete the chart from the
Mm-hmm.
list on page 227. There may be more than one correct answer. So they've listed some things that might be a job responsibility
Mm-hmm.
and the category.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is wear the right clothing. So which one of these from this list on 227 might be the same as wear the right clothing?
Mm-hmm.
Would be wear a uniform. I think they did that one for you, right? So wear the
Yeah.
right clothing might be wear a uniform. What about follow health and safety rules? What one of these might be
Follow
following?
direction.
Well, that's true, but what about wear latex gloves? I think would be more appropriate. Follow
Okay.
health and safety rules, wash hands,
Yeah.
and wear latex gloves.
Yeah.
Those would be for health and safety. Be on time.
Click in. Clock
Clock
in.
clock in and clock out, right? Clock in and
Yes.
clock out. That's be on time. Communicate with others.
Call in late.
No, that's your boss. The
Ask
people that you
question.
work with.
The people what?
The people that you work with.
Work as a team.
Yes, work as a team. That's right. Work as a team. Use equipment correctly. That could be just about anything, but they said ask questions.
Yeah.
So maintain the equipment, store the equipment, but the one they wrote down was ask questions. I don't even see
Yeah.
that. Oh yeah, it is number 10. But all 10, 11, and 12, all three of those could be use equipment correctly, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's look at the workbook. Page 134 in the workbook. And the first thing they're talking about here is matching the words with the letters on the line. And these also come right out of that chart on page 227. So refer back to that chart on 227 to fill these in. So number 1 says wear latex gloves. If you look down this list and you see wear, and you can
Yeah.
see she's wearing gloves in that picture. Well, they're not even using those pictures. They're using these wear latex gloves. You wouldn't wear the equipment or wear hands, so wear
Yeah.
latex gloves. Maintain. What would you maintain?
See the equipment.
Yes, see the equipment. Number 3, wash.
Wash hands.
Yes, letter A. And number 4, ask.
Ask questions.
Yes.
F.
That's probably your most important thing to remember on a new job, Christine, is always ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And they may tell you not to spend too much time talking to your coworkers, but they'll probably have someone teaching you in the beginning. Ask as many questions as you can think of because that's going to help you to learn
Okay.
what the job is. Number 5,
Call in late.
call
D.
in late. Call in late. And the last one?
Clock in and clock out.
Right. Very good. So now we're going to look at the pictures at the bottom, and they want you to write the job responsibilities from the top. So they are using these same ones that you just did, just these 6 that are at the top of the page. So number 1 is,
Wear latex gloves.
yes, wear latex gloves. Number 2,
Maintain the
yes,
equipment.
maintain the equipment. Very good, maintain the equipment. Number 3,
Ask a question.
ask questions. Never be afraid to ask questions. Number 4,
Clock in and clock out.
yes. Number 5,
Wash hand.
right. And number 6,
Call in late.
very good, very good. Okay, now the next one I can't play that CD, but apparently they've matched these 3 people to these 3 jobs, but I don't think it's critical. You can see that a food service worker would do things in a deli, a housekeeper would clean rooms, and a construction worker might be building buildings. That could be a house or other type of buildings.
Yeah.
Let's go down to exercise D. Look at the pictures. What are each worker's responsibilities? And write a list. So there are going to be several different things that a person in this job might need to do. So the first one, she's a waitress. And the first thing they gave you was ask questions. What are some other things that a waitress may need to do in her job?
To be nice with the
Yes.
people and
Yes.
bring the order.
Bring food.
Bring food.
Keep their water glass or their drinks refilled. You have to take orders and write them down and turn them in the kitchen. What about a gardener? What are some things a gardener might have to do?
So cut the grass.
Mow the grass. Mow the grass. Trim the hedges.
Trim.
Trim the hedges. Maintain equipment is going to be very important for a gardener. They need to maintain their equipment to make sure that it
Yeah.
works. Um, they might also have to talk to the customer that they're doing the gardening for, so they may
Yeah.
have to interact with the customer. Um, but different things I've seen them doing are especially mowing, trimming, um, possibly weeding a flower bed,
Mm-hmm.
pulling weeds. All right, and the last one is a nurse. What are some things that a nurse might do?
Um, Measuring the temperature, measuring the pressure, give the medicine.
Right, take blood pressure, give medicine, um, ask questions of the patient.
Yeah.
Uh, you might have to keep a record in their chart, record things in the chart.
Yeah.
Um, there could be several things. Nurses do a lot of different kinds of things.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to lesson 2. Ask about policies at work. Do you understand the word policies?
Yeah.
That's what kind of things are expected of me? What do I have to do? What things are not allowed? And what things are allowed? Those are what policies are about. What kinds of things can I do? What kinds of things can I not do?
Mm-hmm.
They may have some restrictions about the type of clothing you wear to make sure that you're safe in the environment that you're working. Uh, Look at the picture of a customer and an employee at the
Mm-hmm.
Greenville Hotel. So this is a hotel clerk.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you are the manager of the hotel. What is that employee doing wrong?
It's
I see
doing
lots of
wrong.
things. Yes. What kinds of things is he doing that he should not be doing?
Uh-huh.
He's probably not wearing the right clothes, for one thing. If you are a clerk in a hotel, I don't think you would dress like that.
Yes.
He's eating at the counter. He should not be eating at the counter, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's talking on the phone and telling the customer, wait a minute, I'm on the phone.
Yeah.
That would be a bad thing to do. Those are 3 things I saw right away. What are some things that you think you might not be allowed to do at work? Besides talking on the phone and eating at your workstation, what else should you not do at work?
Mm. What is it? He not allowed to tell the customer wait minute or
Well, you should not be talking on the phone while you're working,
yes.
right? Most workplaces will tell you that you cannot use your phone at all when you're at your workstation.
Yeah.
That's going to be pretty much a given. Not eating in front of the customers. Um, what other things?
Mm. The uniform.
Yes, you probably would wear
His
a
uniform.
uniform. Almost every hotel is going to have an expected dress code. A
Mm-hmm.
dress code is the things that they allow you to wear and the things that they don't allow you to wear.
Yeah.
So a dress code would be things you can wear and things you can't wear. All right, let's go down to part 2. Listen to Michelle Rivera talking to a new employee. I'm sorry, she's talking to a new employee um, at their orientation meeting. And what does Michelle talk about? So we're going to listen to this track and think about what she's talking about at the new employee orientation.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think working as a
we're going to
team.
we're going to listen to the CD first
Oh, okay,
and see
okay.
what she says on the CD.
Yes, okay.
Page 228. Listen. Exercises A and B.
Hello, everybody. I'm Michelle Rivera from Human Resources. Welcome to the Greenville Hotel. I think that you'll find this a great place to work. We're going to start our orientation meeting by talking about company policies, and then we'll take a tour of the building. Let's start with employee responsibilities. We'll give you an employee ID badge at the end of this meeting. You must wear your employee ID badge during your work shift. This is very important. Also, all employees must follow the dress code. Your manager will explain the dress code for your department. Employees in housekeeping and food service must wear a uniform. Please get your uniforms at the end of this orientation. Here's another very important responsibility. You must clock in at the start of your shift and clock out at the end of the shift. Please be on time. And you must also clock in and out when you take your break. During your 6-hour shift, you must take a 30-minute break. You must not clock in or clock out for another employee. Are there any questions? No? Okay. Now, some information about our sick day policy. Please open your company policy booklet to page 5. And let's take a look.
Okay, so what were some of the things that she talked about in her orientation?
Wearing the right clothes
Yes, wear the
and
right
begin
clothing
on time.
and being on time. Those are the two things that she stressed in the orientation.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I have
That's okay.
allergies.
You're fine.
And
Oh, I know.
I
Yeah, I know the allergy of
so
the
wearing the right
spring.
yes, it's that time of year, spring. So wearing the right clothing and being on time. In the next part, we're going to listen again, and then we're going to
Mm-hmm.
fill in the blanks. So they'll tell you uh, the things to do, and then we'll fill in the words in the blanks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same track again.
Unit 12,
Sorry.
page 228. Listen. Exercises A and B. Page 228.
Ah,
Unit 12. The world of. Page 228. Listen. Exercises A and B.
Hello, everybody. I'm Michelle Rivera from Human Resources. Welcome to the Greenville Hotel. I think that you'll find this a great place to work. We're going to start our orientation meeting by talking about company policies, and then we'll take a tour of the building. Let's start with employee responsibilities. We'll give you an employee ID badge at the end of this meeting. You must wear your employee ID badge during your work shift.
okay, so what was the first one?
Employee ID
ID
badge.
badge, that's right. You must wear your employee ID badge during your work shift.
This is very important. Also, all employees must follow the dress code. Your manager will explain the dress code for your department. Employees in housekeeping and food service must wear a uniform.
So what do the employees in housekeeping and food service do?
Must wear a uniform.
Yes, they must wear a uniform.
Please get your uniforms at the end of this orientation. Here's another very important responsibility. You must clock in at the start of your shift and clock out at the end of the shift.
Okay, that skipped down to number 4. Oh, no, that's not yet. Not yet. I'm sorry. That's not the one she's talking about.
Yeah.
Please be on time. And you must also clock in and out when you take your break. During your 6-hour shift, you must take a 30-minute break.
That's the next one, number 3. You
So,
must take a
30-minute break. So
Yes.
also in the break, I have to make a clock in and clock out.
right, but that's not till number 4. So we'll look again. Listen again to the rest.
Okay.
You must not clock in or clock out for another employee. Are there any questions? No? Okay. Now, some information about our sick day policy. Please open your company policy booklet to page 5. And And let's take a look.
Okay, so my cat is up here on my desk because she's worried about the vacuum cleaner. Come on, you gotta find another place, kitty cat. Okay, you can lay there. Go ahead, lay down. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm sorry. My cat gets on my desk because she's afraid of the vacuum cleaner.
Okay.
Okay, so that was all of number 2. Let's go over to the next page on exercise 3. We're going to do another listen and then a listen and repeat. In the pronunciation watch, it says, in yes-no questions, the voice usually goes up at the end. When you ask a question, your voice tends to go up at the end of a question. And that's an indicator that it is a question. It's not a statement. So it's
Mm-hmm.
voice inflection. So listen to the questions and then listen and repeat. So listen to the way that they ask a question. When someone is asking a question, their voice is going to go up at the end of the statement because it's a question. So
Yeah.
let's listen. Cat, I can't see through you.
Page 228.
Nope.
Listen. Exercises A. Page 229. Conversation. Exercise A. Listen.
Can I ask you a few questions? Do we have to clock out? Are we allowed to wear sneakers?
Okay, now repeat.
Listen and
Okay.
repeat.
Can I ask you a few questions?
Can I ask you a few questions?
Do we have to clock out?
Do we have to clock out?
Are we allowed to wear sneakers?
Are we allowed to wear sneakers?
Okay. Um, this is just for your information. They wrote in this first question, they said, can I ask you a few questions? That's not the right way to say that. The right way to say that is, may I ask you a few questions? The reason I say you should
Yeah.
say may is permissive. It's giving you permission. And can is about ability. What are you able to do? So that's really not the right way to ask that question. The right way to ask that question is, may I ask you a few questions?
Okay.
So you might
I see.
keep that
Yeah,
in
it's
mind.
polite more.
I'm sorry?
It's a polite. How can you ask in the polite?
Polite. No, this is not about
Yes.
polite. The word may, when you say may I, is asking permission.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
May I go outside and play? May I help my brother with his homework? May I do these things? I know that you can do them. I know that you are able to do them, but I'm asking permission. Does that make sense?
Yes.
When you're asking
Yes. Okay.
permission, you use may I. When you're talking about ability, what you're able to do, I can wash dishes. I can
Can.
cook dinner. Those are things I can do. But if you're talking about
Yeah.
may I, then that's asking permission. Okay, that's a different way.
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking about permission, you use
Okay.
may I. When you're talking about ability, then you use can. So
Yeah.
this is really not the right word in this particular instance. That's why I wanted to point that out. There's nothing wrong with saying can I, and people will say can I, but that's not really the right way to ask that. The right way to ask that
Mm-hmm.
is may I. All right, let's
Okay.
go on down to the part B. Monica is a new employee at the Greenville Hotel. She's asking Michelle Rivera a question. Listen and repeat the conversation. So first we're going to listen, and then we'll listen and repeat, okay?
Okay.
See if I can get my cat out of the way so I can see. There you go.
Page 229. Conversation. Exercise B. Listen.
Hi, Michelle. Can I ask you a question?
Sure. What do you want to know?
Am I allowed to wear sneakers?
No, you aren't. You have to wear black shoes.
Okay, thanks. I'm glad I asked.
Okay, now we
Listen
can
and repeat.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi,
Hi,
Can
Michelle.
I ask you a
Michelle.
question?
Can I ask
Can
you
I
a
ask you
question?
a question?
Sure. What do you want to know?
Sure. What do you know? What do you want to know?
Am I allowed to wear sneakers?
Am I allowed to wear sneakers?
No, you aren't.
No, you aren't.
You have to wear black shoes.
You have to wear black shoes.
Okay, thanks. I'm glad I
Okay,
asked.
thanks. I'm glad I asked.
Very good. Okay. Part 4 is filling in the blanks with these letters in blue or in green. So if you want to take a minute and write something in there, and we'll take turns.
Okay.
I'll start with part A.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Christine. Can I ask you a question?
Sure. What do you want to know?
Am I allowed to park anywhere?
Uh, no, you aren't. You have to park in the back.
Okay, thanks. I'm glad I asked. All right, now you start, Christine.
Okay. Hi, Miss Elsa. Can I ask you a question?
Sure, what do you want to know?
Am I allowed to eat at my desk?
No, you aren't. You have to eat in the break room.
Okay, thanks. I'm glad I asked.
Very good. So those are things you might run into. And talking about trading shifts and talking to a manager, those are all things you might run into um, when you're in a work situation. All right, let's go over to lesson 3. Talk about responsibilities. I like to go over grammar boxes first, so I'll read these and you repeat after me. You have to wear black shoes.
You have to wear black shoes.
You must wear black shoes.
You must wear black shoes.
He has to wear black shoes.
He has to wear black shoes.
He must wear black shoes.
He must wear black shoes.
Okay, in the grammar watch it says we almost never use must for questions. We use have to for questions.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have to wear a uniform? So when you're asking a question, you wouldn't say do I or must I wear a uniform? You would say do we have to wear a uniform?
Okay.
So let's go down to the statements, expressions of prohibition with must not and can't. You must not wear sneakers.
You must not wear sneakers.
You can't wear sneakers.
You can't wear sneakers.
All right, let's go down to the practice. Complete the conversations. Use must not, have to or can't, and a verb. There may be more than one correct answer. Christine, I'm going to walk away from my desk for just a minute. If you want to look at that and
Okay.
see if you can fill in some of those blanks, and I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I'm back. Let's go over those questions. Lost my glasses. Okay,
Oh,
so complete the conversations. Um, are you going to the orientation meeting today? Yes, all new employees have to go to the meeting. Can we smoke in the break room?
no, we can't smoke anywhere
In the building.
in
Very
the
good.
building.
There's a smoking area
Smoking area outside.
outside. Okay, what's the uniform for front desk employees?
Front desk employees must wear dark suits and black shoes.
Very good. How do I take a sick day?
You just call your manager, but you must call your manager at least 30 minutes before the start of your shift.
Very good. You must call at least 30 minutes before. I'm going to eat lunch at my desk.
Sorry, it is not allowed. You have to eat at your desk. You have
No, it says you
not a,
can't eat
you
at your
can't.
desk.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you
You
can.
can't eat at your desk.
Yeah, you have to eat in the break room.
Yes, they put in my book, they put you must eat in the break room.
Must.
You have to eat in the break room or you must eat in the break room. Either one
Yeah,
of
it's
those
the
would probably
same.
be
It's the
okay.
same.
I think it's okay. It said in questions that you should not use must, but this is a statement, and in statements, I think saying that you must or you have to, either one would be okay.
Okay.
Let's go over to part 2. Read the information and answer the questions. So first, they've given you your duties as an employee. To
Mm-hmm.
make your work more successful, here is a list of reminders.
Mm-hmm.
Be on time. This is very important. Call your supervisor if you are going to be late. Begin and end your breaks at the scheduled times. Don't forget to clock in and out. Don't clock in or out for other employees. And don't make personal calls at work. So who is this information for?
It's a duties as an employee.
So it's for
Employee.
the employees. So
Yes,
the answer to
employee.
number 1 is employees, okay? What is the information about?
It's about the duty. It's about the how you work more successful.
It's about the employee's responsibilities or the employee duties, right? It's
Yeah.
what you're required to do as an employee.
Mm-hmm.
All right, part B says complete the statements about Jack's responsibilities. Use the correct form of have to, must not, or can't.
Mm-hmm.
So number 1, Jack has to be on time for work. It would be perfectly acceptable to say Jack must be on time for work.
Yeah.
Okay? Number 2,
If he is going to be late, he must call the
yes.
manager if he is going to be late.
Yes, he must call if he's going to be late. Number 3,
Um, he must take his breaks on time.
that's fine. He must take his breaks on time. Very good. It says begin and end, so you could say he must end his breaks on time, but you could say he must take his breaks on time. That would be fine.
Okay.
Number 4,
He has to clock in and out.
very good. He has to clock in and out. Number 5,
He must not. He must not. He must not take a break for other employments
well,
or
it's not taking a break, it's clocking in and out. He
clock
must
in.
not
Yes.
clock in for other employees.
Yeah, he must.
He must not clock in or
Okay.
out. You can put a slash out, but he
Mm-hmm.
must not clock in or out for other employees.
Yeah.
And number 6,
Personal call. He must make personal calls at work.
he must
Must
not
not.
make.
Yes,
Yes,
he
he must not make personal calls at work. He must not make personal calls at
personal
work.
calls. I mean. Yes.
All right, let's go to the workbook.
Mm-hmm.
Ask about policies at work and talk about responsibilities. So look at the signs. Complete the
Mm-hmm.
statements. So the signs are down the right-hand side of the page. And
Yes.
complete the statements using must, must not, have to, or can't, and a verb from the box. So we're going to use one of these: must, must not, have to, or can't, and a verb from the box. Some verbs may be used more than once, so there's no limit to how many times you can use the verb, all right? So
Okay.
just because you've already used it doesn't mean you can't use it again. Number 1 says all warehouse employees must wear work boots.
Yeah.
You see that in that first sign? It
Yeah.
says warehouse employees
Must not wear a sneakers.
or can't. Either
Or
one,
can.
yes, can't wear sneakers. It's you're not allowed to wear sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
Warehouse employees can't wear sneakers. Number 2,
Employees can smoke outside the building in the smoking area.
okay, so they must smoke outside.
Must.
They must smoke outside the building. No smoking in the building. They must smoke outside the building in the smoking area. They,
They must not smoke in the break room.
very good. They must not smoke in the break room. Number 3, employees
Um, employees can or must parking in the employee parking area.
yes, or have to, but yes, employees must park in the employee parking area.
Employees must not park in the customer parking area.
Very good. Number 4, all employees
must wear an ID badge.
very good. All employees must wear an ID badge. Non-employees
Must not must not be in this area. No, I don't know
um,
this one.
enter. I think they want you to say must not enter this
Enter
area. Non-employees must
must.
not enter this area. Okay, so non-employees can't enter this area or must not enter this area. So it's off limits to people that are not employees.
Mhm.
Number 5,
Employees must must not make a personal calls at work.
very good. Employees must not make personal calls at work.
They can call at lunchtime or during breaks.
They can they can make calls. They can make calls at lunchtime or during breaks. Or they must make calls. I guess they must make
Mhm.
calls because they have to make calls at lunchtime or during breaks. Number 6,
All employees must wash their hands after using the restroom.
yes. Anytime you go into a restaurant, you'll see a sign posted that says employees must wash hands
Yeah.
before returning to work. Okay. Number 7,
Employees must wear safety gear in this area all the time.
very good. Employees must wear safety gear in this area at all times. Okay, so this next one again is on the workbook CD, and I can't play that one, so
Mhm.
let's skip that one and go to letter C. Look at the picture Greg is a new employee at the Greenville Cafe. What are Greg's responsibilities? Write sentences with must, must not, have to, and can't. Well, they did the first one for you. This is obviously the employee break room. And if you look at the bubble, it's showing something. Oh, it's the time clock. So it's saying Greg has to clock in and out. So if he's going on break, he has to clock out for his break and then clock back in at the end of his break.
Mm-hmm.
So what about number 2?
Greg must wear a uniform.
He must wear a uniform. Greg must wear a uniform. And usually if a company requires you to wear a uniform, they're going to provide that uniform for you. Sometimes they give them to you and you're responsible for their care. My daughter works in a hotel and they provide her with uniforms and they do the laundry for her. She just has to drop it off at laundry and pick it up. So she's responsible for making sure that it's kept clean and neat, but they will do the laundry for her. So, but they do provide your uniforms. If they expect you to wear one, usually they will provide it for you. Although my son also has to wear a uniform and they don't provide him any uniforms. He has to buy his own and he has to take care of them. So it just depends
Yes.
on where you work. Number 3.
Greg must take his break on time.
No, he must take his breaks in the break room. He cannot eat or
In the
drink.
break room. Okay.
He cannot eat or drink out on the floor. He has to take his breaks in the break room. He's not allowed to eat or drink when he's out on the floor.
So Greg must eat
In the break room. He must eat in the break room.
Mm-hmm.
And number 4.
Does that mean he has to go
Greg must not
every time he goes to the
smoke
break room?
in
No smoking in the building.
the building.
He
Yes.
must go outside.
Mm.
He must go outside to smoke, sorry. He must go outside to smoke. No smoking allowed in the building.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a strange construction there.
Yeah.
Did you hear?
Sometimes they are.
When it said, you must eat in the break room. What does it mean? Every time you go to the break room, you have to eat?
My husband is bringing out points that are odd. Yes, dear, if you want to eat, you have to go in the break
Yes,
room.
that's one way, but the other that's different than what it said.
I know. All right, let's go over to lesson 4. What he was saying is, does that mean that every time you go in the break room, you have to eat?
Yes.
Not necessarily.
Yes.
But it did have an odd construction. The point they were trying to make was that you have to do your eating in the break room. So let's go over to lesson 4. Read a pay stub. This is probably a very important thing to know about. And if you have any questions at all about your pay stub, you need to go to Human Resources or somebody and ask your questions, because this is pretty serious stuff. You want to make sure you get paid, and you want to make sure you get paid the right amount. So you need to be able to check your pay stub and know if it's right or wrong, and know who to talk to about it if it's wrong, okay?
Okay.
So let's look at Frank's pay stub. How much money did he earn? Looking at this pay stub, what did he earn?
400
He earned $400.
dollars.
How much money did he get?
Total 103
No,
or 200.
$296.80. That's
Yeah.
that last number down there. That's the net pay. That's how much money he took home. $296.80. There are some things that they have to take out of your paycheck. It's just required by law. They're required to take out certain taxes and certain deductions. And when you get done taking out the deductions, then you have a net pay, and that's how much you get to take home.
Yeah.
So the things they show you on here is the pay date, the pay period, when did the pay period start and when did it end, the rate of pay, how many days you worked for this paycheck, the amount of money you get per hour. So he's working from 10:17 to 10:23, and he's getting paid $10 an hour. And the total, number 3 says the gross pay. That's the amount of money you get before deductions. Number 4 is the money taken out to pay for taxes and insurance. That comes out in number 4, the total deductions. And number 5 is the amount of money you get after deductions. So number 5 is how much you get after deductions. All right, so let's look at part B. Look at Frank's pay stub again and match the deductions with the definitions. So they've given you definitions down here, and they want you to match those definitions with these words. Number 1 was federal tax, and that was letter E. So if you go down to the bottom, that's the tax you pay the U.S. government. That's the federal tax. Federal means U.S. It's the whole country, okay? In Tennessee, we don't pay state income tax, but we do pay federal income tax.
Yeah.
Okay, so now if you were working in Kentucky, you would have to pay state income tax also, but we don't pay that in Tennessee. Okay?
Kentucky pays state tax?
Yes, there's only 4 or 5 states in the country that don't have a state income tax, and Tennessee is one of those. There's no state income tax in Tennessee.
Yes.
Okay, so number 2 says state tax, and in Tennessee you won't have that deduction in your check. But number 2 is state tax. Which one is state tax?
It's a tax you pay the state government?
Yes, so that's letter A. And like I said, we don't have that one in Tennessee. Number 3, Social Security.
Money, no. Most people, just
Okay,
wait.
that's
Money for
misleading.
older people?
Yes, it's a little misleading because you have to, they take Social Security deductions out of your check, but they're not just for older people that have retired. It also pays disability to people that can't work. It also pays benefits to mothers with children.
Yes.
There's lots of ways you can get Social Security benefits, and that's what they're talking about. But what you need to be aware of is that there will be a deduction on your check for Social Security. Number 4 is Medicare.
Is money for health care for older people?
No, that was number 3. Number 3, Social Security is money for older people not working now. That's letter B. Number 3 is letter B. B is in boy.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Medicare.
It's Medicare. Yeah.
And that's money for health care for older people. But again, Medicare doesn't just apply to older people, but it is a deduction you're going to see on your check. Is a deduction where you have to pay a small amount of money towards Medicare every payday. Number 5, SDI.
Is the C money for workers
Yes,
who are
money
disabled
for
and
workers who
can't
are
work?
disabled. Yes, SDI. It's disability insurance. I always thought it was SSDI, but anyway, SDI. It's insurance for people who are disabled and can't work. All right, letter C says, look at Frank's pay stub again. So we're going back up to the top of the page to look at Frank's pay stub and correct the incorrect statements. So we have to read these statements and see what's wrong with them.
Okay.
Number 1 says Frank's pay stub is for 2 weeks of work. Well, if you look at the pay period at the top, It says
So
10/17
one,
to 10/23, so it's only 1 week.
1 week. Yes.
So his pay stub is for 1 week of work. Number 2, Frank's company paid him on what day? What day did they actually pay him?
Yes, I think this is correct.
No, look at the pay
No,
date. Look at the
it's
pay date.
10/29.
Yes, ma'am. Pay 10/29. So they paid him on 10/29. So the pay week ended on 10/23, but he got his paycheck on 10/29. Okay?
Okay.
Number 3, Frank gets paid $40 per hour.
Mm, no, it's
No,
$10 for.
$10 per hour. That's right. I don't know very many people that get paid $40 per hour.
Yeah.
He gets paid $10 per hour. Number 4, how many deductions were taken out of his paycheck?
I think no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5
Five.
deduction.
5. So change that 4 to 5. 5 deductions were taken out of his paycheck. Number 5, Frank paid the U.S. government how much in taxes? How much did Frank pay in U.S. government taxes?
No, 40. The
$40.
federal
That's
tax.
right. $40. That's correct. Federal tax. So that should be $40, not 20. And how much did he get after all the deductions were taken out? That's his net pay. How much was his net pay?
It's 296.80.
Yes, that's exactly right. 296.80 was his net pay. So let's look over on 233 in the practice. Read. I'm sorry. You have
When
a
you
question?
But when you apply for anything like insurance or like my son's school, they look at the amount before the deduction, right?
Is that what usually they do? Yes.
Yeah, why?
Why?
You have to see after.
I agree with you because you don't get that money. You only get the amount after the deductions.
Yeah.
But they look at your gross pay. That's what they want to know. But I agree with you. That seems odd that they would do that. But that's the way they look at it. They look at your gross pay, and that's true for almost everything. Because
Yeah.
you can take out deductions that are optional, that are not required. Deductions you might make contributions into a retirement fund, and those are not required. That's something you choose to do. And they're not, they want to know what your gross pay is before they take any of that out. And usually they make allowances for things that they know they're going to take out because they know they're going to take out federal taxes and Medicare and Social Security
Yeah.
because they have to take those things out. So they usually
Yes.
take that into account when they look at those numbers. But yes, they usually want to know what the gross pay is because some people make contributions out of their paycheck that are optional. They're not required.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
All right, and we're going to go over and look at another pay stub. This is for Alex. And then we're going to answer questions about Alex. Look at the top of the page. It says, note, when you work more than 40 hours a week, you get a special overtime rate of pay. It is 1.5 times your regular rate. Those things are generally governed by federal law. So sometimes it's 1.5 times. My son has to work on Sundays every other week. His schedule has him working Saturday and Sunday 1 week, and then his days off.
Yeah.
His days off change from Thursday, Friday to Saturday, Sunday. So 1 week he's off on Thursday, Friday, then the next week he'll be off on Saturday, Sunday. But his Sunday rate of pay is usually higher than his Saturday rate of pay because it's not considered overtime, it's considered some kind of a premium pay because he's working on a Sunday or a day that's not required. So there's different kinds of pay that might show up on your pay stub. So let's look at Alex's pay stub and answer these questions. How long is the pay period?
It's
How long
from
is it?
December 2nd to December 16th.
Yes. So how long is that?
It's 2 weeks.
Yes, 2 weeks.
2 weeks,
His
yes.
pay period is 2 weeks. On what day did the company pay Alex for this pay period? So what day did they write his check?
It's December 22,
Yes, December 22nd. That's exactly right.
22nd, yeah.
That was the
This.
day they wrote the paycheck for him, was on 12/22. Very good. How many overtime hours did Alex work? So how
It's
much
10 hour.
overtime? 10 hours, that's right. So 10 hours. He worked 10 hours of overtime. How many total hours did he work?
Total is 90.
Yes, he worked a
Oh,
total of
that's a
90 hours.
lot.
Well, he worked
It's too
40
much.
hours each week. A 40-hour work week is pretty normal. He worked 40
Yeah.
hours each week, but he also had 5 hours of overtime each week. Or in a 2-week
This
pay
is
period, he had 10 hours.
mm,
Okay, it could be 1 hour every day because it's a 2-week pay period, so it could have been 1 hour a day.
mm-hmm,
He didn't necessarily work an extra shift. Sometimes my son, because he works in a hospital, if
mm-hmm,
somebody calls out sick, they might ask him to work an extra day, and that happens every once in a while. And then he would have 8 hours of overtime pay because he would work a full
mm-hmm.
shift, but it would be an extra shift, and he might get 8 hours of overtime. So it depends on your work situation. What is Alex's regular rate of pay?
Is it's 12.
$12 an hour. His regular rate of pay is $12 an hour. In this particular pay stub, what was his gross pay? That's the total pay before they took anything out.
Yeah, is $1,140.
That's exactly right, $1,140. How much money was taken out in deductions?
Is 800.
No, deductions.
Uh,
How much were the total
the
deductions?
deduction is 277.
Yes,
Yes,
$277. And what is his net pay?
is 863.
Yes, $863. Now, I think they may cover this later, but in the kind of job that you're going to have, Christine, they may have something they call a piece rate, where you have to assemble so many pieces, and they'll pay you for the number of pieces you assemble, or they may have some other kinds of things in your pay stub. I don't know if they've gone over any of that with you yet, but
Mm-hmm.
usually when you're putting things together, which is what I understand from what you described, they'll pay a piece rate for how many pieces you do, or they may expect you to do a minimum number of pieces in each shift, and
Mm-hmm.
they'll adjust your pay based on whether or not you keep up with their expected piece rate. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
If
Okay.
you struggle with how to do this, you may ask a coworker, is there an easier way to do this that will make me faster? Okay?
Okay.
So make sure if you're having any problems, talk to your coworkers. Maybe they can help you with a way to do that job more quickly. So
Mm-hmm.
that'll help you to improve your piece rate. All right, let's go over
So our book.
to the workbook for lesson 4. That's page 138 in the workbook. We're going to look at another pay stub. This is for Viet. Match the information on the pay stub with the definitions and write the letter on the line. So they've used letters throughout the pay stub to indicate the different things that are on the pay stub, and then they want you to match those with these descriptions that they've written down below.
Mm-hmm.
So number 1 says the days Viet worked for this paycheck. So what shows the days that she worked for this paycheck?
Pay period.
Yes. Letter B. B. The days Viet worked for this paycheck. Number 2 says the number of hours that Viet worked.
Is A.
Yes. Letter A, that's the number of hours that she worked. Number 3 says the money that Viet got before taxes, before deductions.
Hmm. Is E?
Yes, the total gross pay. Very good. The total gross pay is the money before taxes. So that's letter E. Number 4, the overtime hours that Viet worked.
D? D?
D is in David. Overtime hours Viet worked. D. Number 5, the money taken out to pay for taxes and insurance.
Is F?
F, total deductions. And 6, money Viet makes per hour. What's her hourly rate of pay?
Uh, uh, per hour is C?
No, they're
No.
looking for her rate of pay. How much does she get paid per hour? Her
Yeah.
hourly rate. It's letter C, rate of
C?
pay. See rate of pay at the top? Letter
Yeah,
C.
C.
Letter
Mm-hmm.
C, that's her amount she makes per hour. And number 7, how much did she get after
G.
taxes? G.
G.
After all the deductions were taken out, that's her net pay. Money
Yeah.
after taxes. Okay, look down at part B. It says look at her pay stub again in part A and complete these sentences. How much was Viet's gross pay?
Is 570.
Yes, that's her gross pay. Number 2, how much is she paid per hour?
$12.
Yes, $12. Number 3, she worked 5 hours of,
Overtime.
yes, overtime. Her net pay is how much? And what is
It's
net pay?
$440.
Yes, that's the pay after all the deductions. Number 5, Viet worked a total of how many hours?
45.
45 hours. Very good. She worked a total of 45 hours. What are her total deductions?
Is 130.
Yes, $130. Viet got paid on what day did they write the check?
On May
Yes,
15.
she got paid on May 15th. And her federal tax was how much?
Is $50.
Yes, $50. Okay, we're going to go over to the next page. It says look at Claudia's pay stub and answer Claudia's questions. So look at this pay stub. They're showing her regular hours, overtime hours, her deductions. So let's go down and answer Claudia's questions.
Mm-hmm.
How much money did I get paid per hour? What was her hourly rate of pay?
Is 8.50.
$8.50.
$8.50.
$8.50. A lot of times, Christine, as a waitress or a waiter, your rate of pay is usually much lower, even lower than minimum wage, because the management expects the waiter or waitress to receive
The tips.
tips,
Yes.
and so they get a lower hourly rate of pay. So
Yeah.
if the wage and hour laws set a minimum, gosh, what am I trying to say?
Minimum 15%, I said.
Well, a minimum, the federal government sets a minimum wage that's required by law. They set a minimum wage rate required by law. And if let's say it's $10, I don't think it is yet. I think it's around $7.50 or something. I think it might depend on the state, but it's pretty low. But
Yeah.
even if the minimum wage was $7.50, they can pay waiters and waitresses like $2 an hour because they expect them to get tips.
Yeah.
And if you pay with a credit card when you go in a restaurant, you can add the tip on the check, and then the management knows how much that person got in tips. I have a tendency to always do my tipping in cash, so it doesn't get recorded by management. But and also the waiter gets that money right away instead of having to wait till payday to get it.
Yeah.
So I have a tendency to tip in cash rather than on the check. Now, occasionally I do it on the check. If I'm eating somewhere where it's really expensive, I might write it in on the check if I'm paying with a credit card.
Yeah.
I rarely use a credit card to pay for food when I go out to eat.
Yeah.
But uh, this is not a waitress type job. Looks like she may be a housekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
So she gets paid $8.50 an hour. How much did she get paid per hour for her overtime hours?
76.
But you have to divide that by 6 to see what the rate of pay was. Because she worked 6 hours of overtime, you have to
Okay.
take that amount of money, which was $76.50, and divide it by the 6 hours of overtime. She gets paid $12.75.
12.
$12.75 per
Yeah.
hour for overtime. $12.75 times 6 hours is $76.50. I was going to check one more thing. $8.50. So that's 1.5 times her pay rate. The overtime
Yes.
pay rate is usually 1.5 times your
Yeah.
regular pay rate. So she got paid for 6 hours of overtime at $12.75 per hour.
Mm-hmm.
How many overtime hours did she work?
6 hours.
6 hours, that's right. And number 4, what is this $20 deduction for?
Social Security.
Yeah, Social Security. When I cash this check, how much money will I get?
When I guess this check, how much money will is $361 and $300.61.
Yes, $361.50. That's her
50.
net pay. That's what she'll get when she cashes her paycheck. That's her net pay. Is this for 1 week of work?
Um, no, it's 2 weeks.
Yes, that's correct. It's from November 1st to November 14th, so it's 2 weeks worth of work.
Yeah.
Now, it says that she only worked 46 hours in 2 weeks. So when you're working in a hotel, sometimes your regular hours might be 6 or 8 hours, and you have to work over an hour or 2 hours. So you might get paid an overtime rate because you worked a longer day, even though she didn't work 40 hours in a week. Sometimes you'll get paid overtime because you worked more than 8 hours in a day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Part D says read about each worker's schedule and pay, then look at the pay stubs and circle the mistake on each worker's pay stub.
Mm-hmm.
So Ibrahim said he worked 40 hours. He gets paid $14 per hour. So let's look at his pay stub
Mm-hmm.
and find where the mistake is.
The hours.
How many hours should it say?
He said 40 and the base stub is 30.
And they wrote 30. So you need to change that 30 to 40 for the
Mm-hmm.
number of hours. He worked 40 hours and he
Yeah.
gets paid $14 per hour.
Yeah.
Carlos says he worked 45 hours and he gets $7.50 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So he worked 40 hours at a regular rate and 5 hours of overtime. So he gets $7.50 for his regular rate of pay. What's wrong with the
Mm-hmm.
overtime?
The overtime rate of pay is wrong.
Yes, his
Maybe
overtime
1.5.
rate, it should be 1.5 times. So
Yeah.
instead of $7.50, it should be $11.25. He should get paid $11.25 for his overtime.
Yeah.
Instead of $7.50, that should be $11.25 for his overtime.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go on
Yeah.
to lesson 5.
Oh, Miss Elsa, could we stop here?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm sorry because
No, that's
I
fine.
need to go to the lab to make a drug test.
Oh, yes, I know.
Yeah.
That's something that most employers require.
Yeah, I know.
So, okay, so you go do that. That'll be fine. We'll pick up here next week. We've
Yes.
still got 2 more weeks of regular classes. They told me that we're supposed to end on April 22nd. So we
Yeah.
still have 2 more weeks, and we won't have any problem finishing this.
Yes, great.
Okay.
Yes,
So
okay.
I'm really glad you got a job, Christine. That's
Thank
exciting.
you.
So you go take care of that, and I'll see you next Thursday.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Elsa.
Take care.
Have a nice day. Bye.
You too. Bye.